Halo Reach PC specs discussion in this video. Will your computer be able to run this game? Well, stay tuned throughout the whole video to understand all the details. How's it going, everybody? It's Kevin here once again giving you another gameplay commentary. Today we're going to be talking about the PC specs probably recommended for Halo Reach, as we don't have any official guidance, guys, but now that I've had a chance to play Flight 3 on PC, I can hopefully give you guys some guidance of what kind of computer parts you will need to be able to play Halo Reach on the MCC, since this will probably be the most demanding game on the MCC. So if you guys like these news informational videos, please make sure to tap that like button. Let's me know you want to see some more content like this. Leave a comment down below if your PC specs have been able to run this. Let me know in the comment section down below, as I do read all the comments and try to reply to most of them as well. And if you're new to the channel, we'll stay up to date with everything Halo related. Make sure to tap subscribe. So let's get right into the video here. So Halo Reach on PC. This is my first time getting a chance to play it. I did not get a chance to play Flight 1 or 2. So Flight 3 on PC, I got a chance to be invited and play, which has been a great time. It's taken me a little bit of learning when it comes to being able to play this game, mainly because I like to stream and record, and that's going to be very important to know about how to go about that when it comes to listening to this video here. Obviously I can play this game on my own, not streaming or anything like that, just fine. It's not crazy demanding, though it's a little higher than I expected for a game that came out in 2010, as it does seem to be a little bit a bit much more than I thought it would be, just because I was expecting to be able to record and stream with all my settings that I like at the highest thing possible, because this game was originally came out on the Xbox 360. Super easy to do, right? Well, not so much, actually, it turns out. I think there's a lot of back running programs when it comes to the MCC that really really demands a lot from your system more than you would expect for games that came out around this time. Now you're watching the gameplay here. This is when I was live streaming on Twitch. Link in the description down below if you guys want to check that out. I've been streaming a lot of PC Reach gameplay, guys. Right now this was streamed in 60 FPS at 720p, downscaled from 1080p. And I was playing this on, I believe, the enhanced settings, if I remember correctly, which is the highest visual settings you can place onto the game as well. You can't really customize too much when it comes to those settings. It's really just low, middle, and high. And I don't really notice that much of an improvement when it comes to the taxing on your system too much there. And so, and then I'll let you guys know what my PC specs are. Currently, I'm running a i5 2500K that is overclocked to 4.4 gigahertz, so a pretty high overclock on that, and it seems to work out fine for me on that. And then I have a GTX 1080 Ti graphics card. Now, with 8 gigs of RAM, and just kind of a standard setup after that. So my PC rig is kind of middle-low end when it comes to being able to do some PC gaming. Like say if I'm playing just by myself without recording or anything, I would say that probably Destiny is probably the max I could probably handle when it comes to PC gaming. Because generally the gold standard is being able to play 1080p 60 FPS. Anything above that, I'd say is what you would consider probably extra, is something like that, if you want to call it that. And so, if you're running anything like an i3 processor or anything lower than that, or anything equivalent to an AMD, then I would say you might would be having some struggles when it comes to playing this game, as playing the game by itself on my i5 2500K. It runs about 70 to 80% CPU usage, which is kind of surprising, like I said, for a game that came out in 2010. And I was hoping to be able to just stream and play just fine, but not so much. Similar games, say like Mass Effect 3 that came out in 2012, I can stream that in 60 FPS and have the settings up to the highest in the game and stream it just fine. So there are certainly some back end things that are holding this thing back. When I first started playing, I ran into a lot of frame rate issues. I mean a lot of frame rate issues, because I have my OBS set up how I like. I have a rather high production when it comes to my streams, because I like to be a little bit more than just like your basic gameplay streamer. But the thing is that it takes a lot of my CPU usage, about 30-ish%, for all the stuff I have running on OBS. And so then trying to run this game on top of that, which maxes out my CPU at 100 the entire time. Not exactly ideal when it comes to streaming. So I had to basically take away all my production value on my streams to be able to play this game, which is very surprising. I was not expecting that. And I put it down to like 720p. I put it on the lowest settings possible. Still didn't do much. So it's really nothing with the game itself to really help improve your performance. It's all the stuff that's running in the back end. I actually had an issue where I was just playing the campaign on stream, and then all of a sudden I got a prompt pop up on my screen saying the Unreal 4 engine had crashed. And then I was like, okay, I pressed okay. And then my entire computer shut down after that. So that was kind of my experience when trying to play this. So it's definitely not the game that's taxing. It's all the back end stuff that's kind of helps supporting this game is what's really taxing your system. And so the changing your settings or anything that in game is not really going to do much for you. Now you're probably also thinking, well, Kevin, come on, it's a flight. You know, they have a lot of optimizations they can pull off to hopefully make it a lot better experience. And I hope so as well. But guys, this is a majority of the game that we actually got in Flight 3. Obviously not every map, every mode, everything or the full campaign. But like, this is pretty much, I'm pretty sure this is how the settings are going to be when it comes to how taxing this game is going to be on your system. Yes, this game came out in 2010, but the MCC came out in 2014. There's a lot of things, a lot of engines, I think up to double digits now, like 11 engines or something like that that's running in this game. So there's a lot of back-end stuff. So now after playing this, I can see why the original Xbox One is really struggling to add in the Unreal 4 engine, because that original Xbox One doesn't really have a whole lot of power behind it. Definitely not anything like a mid-range PC or could have. And so when it comes to suggestions, what I would suggest you guys to do is, one, if you're invited to Flight, certainly try to play it if you can. But I would say that changing your settings, like your visual settings or your resolutions or anything like that, it's not going to really help out. It's really a lot of the back-end stuff, like I was saying, that helps support this game to be playable. But yeah, I would say that my CPU, which is the i5-2500K, I'm not quite sure what the AMD equivalent would be, but you can probably you can just do a little bit of research. You can find that on Google just fine. That's probably about the minimum CPU you would want to use for this. Graphics card wise, you really don't need a whole lot, obviously, since these games are a bit older, but still you want something rather decent. I used to have my 770. It probably would still work just fine on this game as well. The biggest issue with my setup is that my CPU is really bottlenecking my performance, sadly, which at that point, if you need to replace a CPU, you're pretty much replacing your entire computer at that point, because you need a new motherboard, probably get new RAM at the top of that. So a lot of things to go involved with. So like I said, guys, like an i5 CPU is something you probably would need. Something around like a 770 graphics card, nothing too crazy. You would need to be able to play this game. Recommended for the high-end stuff, again, really about the same amount of specs. Like I said, it's really more about the apparatus that's holding this game together that really adds a lot of tax into your system. It's not the game itself. The game itself is actually very minimal. When I downloaded this on the Flight 3, it was like, 7.5 gigabytes. Pretty average for games around that time. Really small file for games nowadays, which I think Modern Warfare on PC was like 175 gigabytes. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is like pushing 200 gigabyte download. So games have definitely grown quite a bit since 2010, that's for sure. And so that's pretty much everything I want to say, guys. So overall, to recap, changing your settings in this game, it's not really going to do a whole lot for you, since the game itself is not very taxing. It's the apparatus holding the whole thing together, like the Unreal 4 engine. If they can find more optimization within that, I would love to see that happen, because I was expecting a game like MCC to not be this difficult to run on a PC. That's, for me, at least a decent gaming PC. Nothing too crazy. I mean, I built this PC back in like 2012, and I haven't really, the only thing I've ever added or changed was the graphics card a couple times. But other than that, like, it's basically been the same PC. And so I was thinking that this would be just fine and easy, just peachy, easy, clean. Not so much. So yeah, I definitely would say you would definitely need an i5 processor or an AMD equivalent to an i5 processor, and probably about a 770 graphics card. I would say you'd probably be just fine. Maybe even maybe even something a little bit lower, but I would not go anything below that. That would probably be your minimum recommended specs. Now, if you're playing like on a laptop or something like that, you definitely want to check that out. Do a little research of your graphics card. You definitely would need a dedicated graphics card to be able to play this game on your laptops. If you're going to try to stream this game like I've been doing, I've been having to reduce my production value to just bare minimum of what you're seeing on screen right now. And so that's kind of been my experience when playing this game on PC. But once I was able to figure it out, it ran actually rather well. I do have to keep VSync on, which is a bit weird for a feature, because I locked the frame rate at 60 FPS, my refresh rate's at 60 FPS, but yet I'm still getting a lot of screen tearing. And then I'd like to have VSync turned off, as VSync does add a little bit of input delay because it adds some processing when it comes to the imaging on your screen right there. But yeah, that's everything when it comes to me and playing Halo Reach on PC, guys. If you like this kind of news informational video, please make sure to tap that like button. Listen, want to see some more content like this. Leave a comment down below what your thoughts were on the video. If you guys have any PC issues when it comes to playing Reach, let me know in the comment section down below, as I do read all the comments and try to reply to most of them as well. And if you're new to the channel and miss any content from me, make sure to check out the videos on the screen right now. And I appreciate you guys coming by. Make sure to tap subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.